You are welcome to keep your mic open if you are not in a noisy place. I'm going to switch my TV off. Just give me 2 seconds. All right. What is SIEM? Does anyone, how many of you know? Will anyone help me understand?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, Astha will start the session by
Okay.
giving your introduction.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Then yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Arjisha, you may proceed now.
Okay, yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm Archie from the team of GISA Council. I welcome you all to the webinar for SIEM, Essential for IS Auditors, Monitoring Logs and Incident Response. GISA Council is a non-for-profit organization committed to empowering individuals and organizations through specialized training and globally recognized certification. Our mission is to strengthen the cybersecurity and IT governance ecosystem by building skilled professionals through programs such as Associate Information Systems Auditor, CISA, CISM Series Prep Training, GDPR Specialist, and many more. Our director, Dr. Hiral Patel, is a visionary in the field of information technology and cybersecurity, with over 15 years of global experience as a consultant and lead auditor. She is renowned for shaping the future of risk and compliances. Her passion lies in nurturing the next generation of professionals and guiding them into the dynamic world of information systems audit. In just 1.5 years since our establishment, GISA Council has proudly trained over 2,500 professionals across 59 countries, including participants from 160 plus global enterprises with more than 30 Fortune 500 companies among them. Now it is my honor to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Yagneshwar Iyer, a respected name in the cybersecurity and IT governance domain. With over 30 years of experience, he is a CISA, CISM, and CDPSC certified professional and has mentored countless professionals since 2012. As a senior ISACA accredited CISA trainer, he is also impaneled with ICAI for the DISA program. With prior leadership roles as a CIO, CTO, and CISO, Mr. Iyer brings a rare combination of strategic vision and hands-on expertise in framework like NIST, ISO 27001, COVID, GDPR. His sessions are known for breaking down the complex concept into real-world insight, and today's session just promised that. Best wishes to all the participants, and sir, over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Isha. Sorry, I'm always in a bit of a hurry. Who can tell me what SIEM is? I'm sure you guys have heard. You must have heard the name, the term. What is it? What does it mean?
Security Information Event Management.
Incident and event management.
Yeah.
Great. So what does that mean? What do you make of it?
So, broadly said that it can monitor all your networks in LAN, WAN, and you can monitor all the logs, whatever your system have in the networks or Microsoft's the OS, emails, events, whatever the events happens in your network, you can monitor those things.
Good, very good. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Sandeep here.
Hi, Sandeep.
So, as part of the security incidents and event monitoring, the SOC analyst will be looking after the dashboards over the security incidents for the various devices which are integrated to the SIEM dashboard. And the alerts will be triggered over there. And they will be analyzing whether it is a true for positive or a false positive. And if it is a true positive, it will be communicated to the respective asset owners or the network team for the further analysis and the blocking of the piece with respect to that.
Good. You kind of explain the process, but what we're looking for is an understanding of what SIEM is, what it does, what is the objective. So let me
I want to say something. Yeah.
Please
So
go.
actually, the security incident event management is a kind of, you can say it's a process, in order to capture unauthorized access or the access which are not defined in the process. Suppose if there are some servers, and on that server, if some authentication is getting failed again and again, then the event is generated, and that event is reported to the concerned team immediately in order to avoid any kind of hacking attempts on that server.
Good. Nice. Anyone else? Anyone else has any opinion? Anything to contribute? What an SIEM is? What is your understanding of SIEM? Have all of us got a blood test? Have you got a blood test done?
Hello? Yes.
Has all of us, most of us have got a blood test done. Blood test at some point in time, right? In life.
Yeah. Every year, sir. Every year.
Yeah, we all get blood tests done.
Yes.
Yes, Maggopa, you were saying something, ma'am. You can start speaking. You don't have to raise your hand. Just start speaking. We'll have an informal conversation here. There is nothing formal about our. Yes, Manoko Maggopa, please go ahead. Do you have anything to say? You have your raised hand.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I've got something to say in terms of the SIEM. I'm just trying to understand. I think I appreciate what the rest of the team have shared in terms of what SIEM does, right?
Yeah.
But the question that I have is just to try and understand that, does it also capture the event relating to the privileged user the activities of the privileged users, right?
Yeah.
Or the administrative users from the front end perspective?
Okay. So we will try and you remember to ask me this question a little later in the day, and we will try and address that. The answer is actually yes and no. It depends, right?
Okay.
You really it depends on. Now I'll go back to the question. We've all got blood tests done, right? Blood tests will have 3-4 pages, many different parameters. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Some of them will be bold. Some of them will be not bold. Now we might look at why is this number bold. We might do a Google search and find that this number means something, right? Let's say hemoglobin is less than 8 or less than 6. You might say, oh, there is not enough iron. You're anemic, right? Or you're deficient in iron. Or you might say, oh, your neutrophils are low. You have neutropenia. So, but when you take it to a doctor, when you take it to a GP, the GP then puts things together. He looks at not only that one parameter, he also looks at other ones, and what is he doing? He is taking more than one parameter, and he is, what is the word I'm looking for here?
Analyzing?
He is correlating. Your GP, he or she correlates various parameters, and sometimes they'll say, listen, can you get another test done? Yes, that also happens. Right? So which means that test isn't giving him all the information. That also happens. Then when you do that other test that the doctor wants, you go back and the doctor says, now this makes sense. Yes. Now, if you were to see that there are so many different blood parameters, like there is a liver function test, there is a kidney function test, there is a complete blood count, there is a let's say fasting sugar, postprandial sugar, HbA1c, there are liver enzymes, all those kind of. So it is wrong to take any one parameter that might be out of bounds, or say, let's say your lipid profile. It's wrong to take any one. Then people like us who don't understand the whole ecosystem, we tend to get lost to see actually what is wrong. Where is the root cause of the problem? Yes, that you need a doctor. The doctor is your technical SIEM. Make sense? The doctor does the job of an SIEM. Your doctor is the SIEM for your blood test report. Similarly, in IT environments, for those of you who are not technical, those who of you are technical, who are exposed to IT environments, who work in IT, please be patient, because this whole presentation today is directed at auditors who may not be all technical people, right? They may be trying to see what we mean by auditing SIEM tools. What does this whole thing mean? So not everybody will be technical. Not everybody will be a network expert. Not everybody will be a server expert. Or as one of you asked, they may not even know what a PIM or PAM means. So we'll try and address those to the extent possible within the constraints of time. So just like we took the example of a blood test report where there will be many parameters. Similarly, in an IT environment, there are many systems, right? Each of those systems produces logs. Now, what are logs? Logs are basically a diary, right? A diary of what those systems have been doing. That's what logs are. Whatever those systems do, they will generate logs. Now, almost all systems in IT have the ability to generate logs. Now, as auditors, we should know a couple of things about logs. Is that there are different kind of logs. By different kind of logs, I mean there are different levels of logs. Now, what level of logging means, you can configure a particular system. You can tell a particular system, listen, you please log only if there are any errors. Don't log anything else. If things are working fine, don't log them, right? Then you can say, listen, if there is a warning, right? If you think that something is not right, also log that. Then you might say, listen, if there is an informational event, it is not a warning, it's not an error, but you're telling me that something has happened as a matter of fact. You log that also. So there are various levels of information that IT devices and software can generate, and typically they can be the person who is managing that IT infrastructure can specify what level of logging he wants on that system. Now remember that if I were to give you a notebook, right? The notebook has finite capacity. Yes, you'll only be able to write so many lines in it. Now, if you want to extend the life of that notebook, you will have to be very concise in the use of your words. Otherwise, your notebook will fill. Similarly, there are certain capacity restrictions sometimes in systems. They can only keep a certain amount of logs for a certain amount of days or a certain number of entries in a log. What is the entries in a log? Entries in a log are nothing but let's say rows in a spreadsheet. Now, if you open Excel, I think now we have 1 million rows or something, right? But 1 million rows is also finite. It's not infinite. It's not because like you can have any number of rows. You can't have. 1 million might be good enough for most of us, but 1 million is still finite. Therefore, you have to always be careful about what you log. That is one very important principle that as auditors we need to remember and focus on. And at this whole presentation today will be focused around auditors. This is not the focus is not going to be to tell you what a SIEM is, what products are there, how to configure them, how to use them. This is about for auditors to understand how to address an SIEM implementation if they find one, whether they are going as an external auditor or they're going an internal auditor, to understand what an SIEM does, understand the importance of an SIEM, understand the application of an SIEM, understand how to then get around an SIEM implementation to be able to audit an IT department's security stance or posture. A security stance or posture of an IT department means how the IT department manages security. Now, just like the blood test report where there are many parameters, and then the doctor puts those parameters together and tries to come to a root cause. Similarly, an SIEM will take logs from various systems. Now, let's break this down. In a typical organization, you will have, say, a firewall. If you don't know what a firewall is, please put your hand up and I'll quickly explain. You will have switches. If you don't know what that means, quickly put your hand up. I'll explain. Okay. Okay, Liu and Frederick, I'm guessing you are saying you don't know what a firewall is, right? A firewall in a network. You can also unmute yourself and speak. It's faster. Okay. You can interrupt me. It's okay to interrupt me. Don't worry about it. It's absolutely okay to interrupt me. I love being interrupted. So if you have anything to say, Liu, Emrish, Manoko, please go ahead.
No, thank you. I just want to hear more elaboration, like the definition of the firewall in more technical way. So that's why I raised my hand.
Okay, Emrish, what's your question?
That's the way. I would also like you to elaborate on that, please.
All right, Manoko Makpupa, what's your question? You have a question?
Yes, please. Similarly to the rest of the team, I want to understand the firewall, and I see also with the firewall they also include
got it.
in it.
We all live in homes. We all live in homes. Yes, we all live in homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We want to protect our homes.
Yes.
How do we do it?
By using
Building a safety wall.
Sorry?
Building the security around it, around our home.
Yeah.
Like what do you do normally? Let's say you're going out. What do you do?
Gate.
Build a fence.
Sorry?
Build a fence.
You lock the door, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
You lock the door. Your door has a lock. Yes.
Yeah. Close all the windows, check all the entrance.
Basically, don't let anyone
Yes.
come inside from outside. Correct? That's what you do. Yes or no?
Yes.
That is exactly what a firewall does in a network.
Okay.
Okay? A firewall is designed to prevent unauthorized access to the network. You want a technical word? A firewall is designed to, yes, close the window, door, whatever. Why? Why are you doing that? So that a
No intruders
person
can come
who
in.
you don't authorize does not come inside your home. Yes?
Hmm.
What will a person do if he comes inside your home? He will take away valuables. Yes?
Yes.
You may have your TV, you may have your Xbox or PlayStation or your jewelry or cash. He might take it away. That person might take it away. Similarly, these are your assets at home. What are your assets in an organization? Your data. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Your data. You want to prevent data theft. The word is data theft. How do you do? One of the things you do is have a firewall. A firewall is just kind of a boundary around an organization which protects the entry points of an organization. Now, the entry points are not physical where human beings are walking through. Those we have, right? Those we have. There'll be guard. There'll be card scanners. There'll be fingerprint scanners. There'll be retina scanners. All that are protecting your physical access. Yes, but you also have virtual access through internet or other networks. Those also have to be protected. They are also a way of your entering inside the company. Firewall is one of the devices which protects the network. When you are living at home, you have a network at home. What is the network at home? You have maybe a living room, you have a drawing room, you have a bedroom, you have a bathroom, you have a kitchen, right? You may have a balcony. That is your network inside your home. You have all these different areas inside your home. That's a network, right? Similarly, an organization's network, which is called a local area network, which is because it is local to that organization's building or area or floor or room, is divided into segments. That's all you need to know. As auditors, that's all you need to know. We don't need to know exactly where the cable is going, how it is cabled. Don't worry about all those details. So an organization also has different areas. You will have different rooms, you'll have different floors, you'll have different departments. Those are different areas. Just like your room, in your home, you have a bedroom, you have a living room, you have a kitchen, you have a bathroom, you have a balcony. These are all different areas. Just like in an organization, you have to protect them. You have to separate them. The data, when you go into an office and work, you're accessing data from somewhere, right? Somewhere you go and start an application, you go and start a browser. The data is coming from somewhere. If you can access the data, there is a chance that someone else can access also. How do you protect it? You start with a firewall. Keep people who can come from outside, who can unauthorized access from outside out, which is why you lock the door. Now, does that guarantee when you leave home and you lock the door, does it guarantee that nobody can break in? Is there a guarantee?
No, sir.
No, there is no guarantee. Yes, very good answer. Correct answer. There is no guarantee. But does that mean you don't lock the door? Because you know, what is the point of locking the door? If somebody can break it open. Do you make it easy for the person? No, right?
No, we need to have some security over it.
You do have the security, but you understand that it doesn't guarantee you 100% protection. It will certainly discourage the casual snooper. Casually, somebody is trying to see, let me try if this door is open. He pushes, no, it's not open, he goes away. Then what you might do, listen, I'll add a CCTV camera. If somebody does break my door, at least that person's face or some other features will be captured on camera. I'll store it. That is another level of protection. Yes? Now, similarly, protecting an enterprise is also done at various layers. Now, I'll give you another example of a layer at home. Let's say you have some valuables. Will you keep that valuable right in the first room, in your living room, on your coffee table next to your sofa?
No.
Not right. You will probably have a wardrobe in your bedroom. You might have a safe in that wardrobe. You will have a combination for that safe. You will keep your cash or your valuables, or maybe in a drawer inside your wardrobe with a lock. You will then maybe lock your wardrobe, maybe even lock your bedroom. Right? Now, what have you done? You have added layers of defense. First is your main door lock. You may have more than one lock on the main door. Yes. So that if somebody is trying to pick a lock, at least he'll have to pick 2 locks or 3 locks. I don't know. I haven't been abroad. I've only been in India. But even in India, my front door, both my front doors have 2 locks each, and there are 2 doors, so there are 4 locks each, right? And then, we don't. We keep valuables, let's say, in our bank locker. That's another way of protecting my valuables. I don't keep all my valuables at home. I keep it in a secure location. That's also a layer of protection I have added, right? So if you are keeping valuables in a safe which has a combination lock inside your wardrobe, which has a combination lock inside your bedroom, with the door to which has a lock, and then you're locking the front door, and then you have 4 layers of defense. Similarly, in an organization, defense is always layered. It is not just one layer. You breach it, you're inside, you can do whatever you want. Defenses, data security is not built like that. It's built in layers. There are many devices, and because a lot of people are working, there are a lot of applications. You want to access internet websites. You want to access, let's say, you want to print something. You want to open a file. You want to save a file somewhere. That file may be, let's say, on your Google Workspace, or in your OneDrive or SharePoint, or on some local file server, or it might be on your local laptop. All of that is a company's assets, right? And all these information is moving around. People are working. Human beings are working to enable all these people to work. In organizations, in my organization, we had 2,000 employees. In some organizations, there are tens of thousands of employees, even 100,000 employees across the globe an organization may have. Any of these employees can talk to any other employee, can send an email to any employee, can send any file to any employee. Maybe yes, most probably not, right? There'll be some restrictions on what you can do. You're not allowed to do everything once you're even an employee, you're not authorized to do everything, right? There is authorization.
Are you going to
yeah, that was my idea.
Okay, then I will need to move because I am on a meeting. Sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you. But we are happy to hear any interesting conversations if you're having, especially if you're having dinner. We are happy to. Please do share it with us. Okay, so far so good. Did you understand the concept of what a firewall does? Did that help?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Right. Okay. So, like we said, we have lots of devices. Okay. Now, all of you have Wi-Fi or some kind of network at home. If you are at home, you have. Yes. Yes, you have. And you would have more than one device that connects to that and uses that local home Wi-Fi. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So in my home, let's say I have this laptop that I am currently presenting on from. My daughter has a laptop. I have another Mac. I have then we have 2 iPads. My wife, my other 2 family members have phones. We have 3 Android TVs and maybe a couple of more other devices that I've lost track of. All this is connecting to my network. How? All of this is using a Wi-Fi. How? We have some connectivity from the ISP. Then you would have set up some Wi-Fi routers. That is how you're connecting, right? All your devices in your home, you have you at least, even if you're living alone, you might have a laptop and you might have a phone. Now, let's say you're going out, you're carrying your laptop and you're going out somewhere and you want internet. What do? You must have used the personal hotspot from your phone. Yes. And you get internet on your laptop. Yes. Anybody has anybody done that? Hotspot from the phone. Then
Yes.
yes, you have used. Now, what is that? You have created a local area network. You have created a local area network where your laptop is using your phone's internet connection. That is nothing but a local area network. If someone says LAN or local area network, there is no need to get worried, confused. There's no great technical thing happening there. Your home, where I counted some 15 devices, right? You might have lesser number, more number of devices you connect. Is a local area network. Now, how is that? Where are you connecting to? You're connecting to your Wi-Fi router, right? Now, if you anybody have observed the backside of your Wi-Fi router, if you haven't, go and check. Chances are it has 3 or 4 ports at the back. Ports means it will be holes where you can connect cables, right? You can connect cables and you can connect devices like, say, desktop computers, right? Which normally don't have Wi-Fi capability. You can connect them using cables to that same network, to that same internet connection. So you can have wireless networks, you can have wired networks. In offices, you will have both. So if you go and sit in your office computer, if that computer is a desktop, it is already connected to the network. Or if you carry your laptop, you may be given a cable to connect your laptop. What have you done? You have connected your device to the office local area network. Now, how is that getting connected? You will have what are called switches. What are switches? Switches are basically gateways. Look at them as gateways. Data comes into them. Whenever data comes from somewhere, the data has to tell the switch where it has to go. So if right now I'm talking to you guys, there are 71 of you here, total 72 people right now. My voice is being converted into data, what is called packets. Okay, you think of them as envelopes. Each of my voice is broken up into many envelopes, and those envelopes have addresses on them, and they are your current IP addresses. And this whole Google Meet software takes my voice, sends it to each one of you in the order that I speak. All right, that is what Google Meet software is doing. It is taking my audio, converting that into electrical signals, bringing it to you with the correct addresses. The switch in between. Now, between you and me right now, there could be 10, 15, up to 15 switches through which my voice is traveling to you. The networks are so fast that we don't even realize there is a delay. But up to 15 switches could be in our way, right? Why do we need 15? Let's say one of you is anybody from the which countries are you in? Anybody from outside India here? Anybody from outside India? Not here. Okay. All right. So listen. Let's say I'm in India. I want to send a letter, a physical paper letter, or a courier, or a packet to somebody in the USA. How would it go? I would write the name of the person, I would write the street or the building number or the flat number or the house number. I would write the street, I would write the city, I would write the state, I would write the zip code, and I would write the country. Now, let's say I don't write the country. Then will my country's post office know where the hell to send it to? They won't know, right? They have to first know the country where it has to go. Now, at the first level, all they are worried about is going to the USA. They don't worry about state. They won't worry about zip code. They won't worry about who is to whom this has to go. They only have to know this has to go to the USA. They just put it into a sack. They know that this sack will reach the USA. There will be some central clearing of the USA where that packet will go. In that central clearing, they'll say, "Oh, where is this?" Now they don't have to worry that this is which country this has to go to, because it was supposed to go to the USA. It has landed in USA. Now they only need to know which state or maybe zip code that this has to be sent to. That's all they need to know. They don't need to know who it has to reach, what street address. They don't need to know that. They only need to know which is the zip code. Then they know, okay, to reach this zip code, I have to put it into this bag. They put it into that bag for the zip code. That whole bag goes to the wherever the clearing for the zip code is. Okay, and from that zip code, there will be different areas which will be broken into. Every area may have a postman or a delivery person. Now, from that packet is now given to the respective delivery person. So what we did, my envelope, first step was India's International Clearing Center. Right? There may be a couple of steps there also which we don't know. Then it goes to America's Central Clearing Center. Then it goes to that zip code's clearing center. Then it gets given to the delivery person who actually delivers to the address. Similarly, in networks, whenever my voice is getting converted into a packet is sent, it goes through a variety of switches that say, okay, I only need to know who is the next person to hand it over to. That's all. I don't need to know the final destination. I only need to know, to reach that destination, who is the person I have to hand it over to the next. That's all. My job is done. I don't care anything about it. This is how the whole network, which means your local area network, you in your home, your 10,000 computers in your office, and the whole internet across the world works. Right? All the systems know that to reach a particular place, who is the next person I have to hand it over to. That's all they do. This is what switches do. Right? Now you will hear things like routers. They also do the same thing effectively. To reach a particular destination, who should I hand this over to next? Right? Now, I hope that makes sense. Now, I hope that those two examples of a blood test report and of these firewalls and networks, I hope it makes sense. All right, somebody is on a basic auto plan with 30-minute meetings. All right, good. So now that we understand this, SIEM, one step back. So we understand there will be a lot of such devices, right? There could be firewalls. Firewalls, we know what they are. Firewalls keep unauthorized people out of our network, right? There could be switches. We know route data from one place to another. They ensure that the data goes to the right person or the right place, right? And there could be different software also. Every time you log in, there is some system which is saying incorrect password. Yes, there is some system which is saying, okay, successful login. There is some system where you go and type in the name of a website. Something is letting you type that thing in. Something is taking you to that website. There is some website, there is a server which is sending you that content. So all these things are happening. All these are devices. All these devices are independent of each other. They are all doing their individual jobs. When you are working in an organization, you are not a standalone person. You are doing a piece of work, as is everybody else. They're all doing their piece of work. Now, let's say you are in a team, or you have a team. Let's say you are the manager of a team. You have, say, a team of 10 people reporting to you. You might be a manager, or you may have other people working under. You may be one of the people, and you will have a manager. Let's say you can adapt what I'm saying to that. Now, if you're 10 people in a team, they have a manager. This manager is coordinating what everybody is doing, right? And the manager has to be good to say that, okay, this guy is doing the right job. Otherwise, things will just go out of hand. When I, in my earlier role, I had over 330 people overall reporting to me. But we had a structure. Not everybody reported directly to me, but we had a structure. At every level, there would be 30 reportees to a manager, then to a manager, then to a manager, then to a manager. There were always step managers, right? But each of those managers is monitoring what each one of them is doing. You're all doing your work. All 10 of you are doing your work, right? But that manager is monitoring what you're doing. When you are doing something, you are creating something. You are getting something, you're doing something to it, you're maybe giving it to someone, right? Or you may be getting some paper, you may be entering some data that might go as a report to someone. Or you may be creating a presentation, or you may be creating a document, right, from some information and you're sending it to someone. We are all doing individual pieces of work, and then it all gets put together somewhere. Similarly, network systems, all these different devices, all these different servers, all these different software, they are all doing their work, and they are creating logs. Logs are simply a history of what all they have done. And every system more or less has, different kind of logs. There are certain established format for the log. Format is what all data will be there, right? And in what all fields will be there. If you want to know what fields are, let's say you have an Excel file, right? You have rows and columns, right? Columns define the structure of that file, right? And rows are just repetitions of the values that a column is supposed to contain. Yeah, that makes sense. Supposing we create a spreadsheet which says first name, last name, date of birth, date of say anniversary, death date, or whatever. Now every row is just a repetition of that. So every row will have first name, every row will have last name, every row will have date of birth, every row will have anniversary. Maybe not if it is applicable, right? But that is a structure. The column in an Excel spreadsheet gives a structure to that data. Yes, and the row is just a repetition of a structure. I hope that makes sense, guys. Similarly, logs have predefined structures. But then what happens is, especially in larger networks, there will be hundreds, sometimes thousands of devices. Okay. Remember, I gave you the example of how it is not right to take one particular, blood marker and come to any conclusion. So you need a doctor who is correlating all those blood markers. I'm not moving any slides yet. Thank you. Okay. Right. So that like the doctor is correlating, and what an SIEM is basically a software. You install that software, it will collect or receive logs from all these various systems which are doing individual pieces of work. Once they're doing individual pieces of work, the SIEM is able to, it understands what, of course, SIEM system has to understand all the log formats. Yes, does that make sense so far? Good. SIEM basically is one repository, like your doctor, is just one place where all the individual pieces of equipment will send the details of the work they are doing. It's like if you are a team of 10 and you are a manager, your manager is receiving the work you are doing. SIEM is your manager for the network. Now, let us break these words up. Security, incident, and event management. Ignore the two words there, incident and event. They are two different things, but for our purposes of this discussion here, without going into too much detail, because we are already 10 minutes, no, we're already 40 minutes past starting time. Yes, so we have 20 minutes more. So I'll try and cover the basics for you. So in the SIEM, why the word is security and security incidents and event management. Okay. But remember when I introduced this thing to you, I said that systems can produce different kind of logs, right? System can say, let's take the example. Some of you would have used an Apple Watch or some other kind of a watch, or you would have gone and gotten say you've gone to a clinic, you must have gotten your temperature checked. Yes, temperature checked or blood pressure checked or your pulse checked. All of us would have got that done at some point in time. Now, what will they say? Your pulse rate is normal. Your pulse rate is higher. Your BP is high. Your BP is low. Your systolic, your diastolic is high or low, or your temperature is high, or your temperature is normal. Now, if things are all right, do you want to know that your temperature is normal 55,000 times a day or 30 times a second? You don't want to know. You only want to know the temperature goes slightly. Am I getting to 99 now? Oh God, 99, I have to be careful. Okay. So then similarly in systems, you can have different levels of logging. Informational logging would be temperature is normal, temperature is normal, temperature is normal. Right? What will happen? You will have tons and tons and tons of those temperature is normal kind of logs. Oh, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. That is your job that you're doing normally. I don't need to record them. What will happen then is once you have so many logs, you will get tired of looking at them. You stop looking at them. It is called log fatigue. If you keep looking at informational or unnecessary kind of information in logs, you develop fatigue, you develop blind spots. Then you might miss something that is important, right? Let's say you're counting a bundle of notes. If there are lots of notes, sometimes you will realize that you lost count, you have to start again, right? Why? Because this is the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? It's a bundle of $1 or 1 rupee or 10 rupee or $10 notes. You're counting them again and again and again and again and again. You do tend to miss that. It happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you. It happens to me all the time. And I'm really bad at counting notes. I can't tell you. So that similar kind of, if you have lots of entries, so it is also what I'm driving at is, it is very important for us as auditors to understand that log generation from systems also has to be configured properly. Now, mostly, not totally, mostly all systems will let you configure the level of logging they should do. Now, as I said, temperature is all right, temperature is normal, temperature is normal, temperature is normal. There are certain conditions, there are certain kind of work, certain kind of events where even that kind of logging is important. Okay? Let's say in a hospital, you really want to know that that person's heart is beating at 72 beats per minute. Because if it gets zero, that's a bit of a problem, right? Similarly, in a network, you might want to know that that switch is working. If it is not working, I want an alert. The moment it stops working for 2 seconds or more, I want an alert. And the only way I can do things like that is to continuously monitor if it is working. So I should be getting an event, SIEM. I should be getting an event that it is normal. Or if something happens in that system which is abnormal, which is not normal, it is an incident. Do you understand the difference between an event and an incident? If that heartbeat is zero, then it's an incident. That heartbeat continuously beats 72 times, that is an event. Very, very rough analogy, very, very high level analogy, but essentially this is what it is. Events are mostly normal working informational logs, but in certain cases, those are also important. You all must have heard the term management by exception, right? Wherever possible, wherever applicable, as auditors, we have to look for configuration of all network devices, servers, software in such a way that we capture exceptions. Now, all those logs, different format, different systems. Now, if you were to simply take firewalls, there are maybe, I don't know, 300 vendors, 400 vendors of firewalls, maybe more. I don't even know. I mean, I could name 10 right now of the cuff of my, right now I could give you 10 firewall vendors. They all have their own philosophies. They all have their own, maybe different log formats also. So the SIEM software typically will understand all these formats of different devices, of different brands. Of every brand will have different kind of devices, right? Let's say you buy a car, let's say Toyota Camry. Toyota Camry comes in 8 different kind of trims. You can have 2 engines. You can have 3 colors or 12 colors of the external body. You can have internal seat covers. There are 5 varieties. How many combinations do you have? Similarly, networks, which is also brands. You have Cisco, you have Aruba, you have Juniper, you have many other brands. Many other, I can't Meraki. There's tons of brands of switches. Similarly, firewalls. Similarly, servers. You have Dell, you can have Lenovo, you can have HP, you can have, I don't know, IBM. Right? There are many brands of servers. You can have different operating systems. You would have used Windows laptops, desktops. You may have used Apple desktops and laptops, right? You all may have used Android phones. You all may have used iOS, that is iPhones. These are all operating systems. What? Linux is an operating system. iOS on your iPhone is an operating system. Android on your phone is an operating system. Samsung, OnePlus, Vivo, whatever is your brand, right? They're all based on Android. Similarly, Mac OS is running on your Apple laptops and desktops. Similarly, Windows is running on your Windows PCs. And there are many options, many more options. And then you have applications, SAP, Oracle, Fusion, NetSuite. You have Outlook, you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, SharePoint, zillions of applications, actually zillions probably. Now, all these also create a trail of what they do. I opened this file, saved this file, deleted this file, overwrote this file, renamed this file, right? This user logged in, this user logged out. This user tried to log in, wrong password. Yes, that is correct. Emrich, you should speak up so that everybody can understand. Yes. Now, event and incident, I gave you a very high level example. Just to differentiate, but you could have security events and security incidents also, right? Typically, events are not something to worry about. Again, typically, incidents are mostly always you should worry about. So all incidents are events, yes. All events may not be incidents. That's a good correction. Now, all the SIEM does is check which of this is important. Where is the source of this? So when something goes wrong, just like in our blood test report, right? Just like in our blood test report, you have to put 2 or 3 things together, or 4 things, or 5 things, or 6 things together to arrive at the root cause. And SIEM is exactly that. And SIEM is supposed to collect information from everyone, all devices, all servers, all software that you have configured, that the SIEM understands, right? Now, if you might have faced this, you go to your GP and the GP will say, listen, Leo, I'll just address that. I may need some clarification. Let me just finish this quickly because we are kind of out of time. Your GP might say, listen, you have to go to a cardiologist. You have to go to a nephrologist. You have to go to an endocrinologist. You have to go to a gynecologist for more information there. That specialist may give you more tests to do to get more information. Then that person will be able to correlate, right? Now, that is because this SIEM, your general practitioner SIEM, did not have the knowledge of the other tests or the other systems. which means you may have to go to a different product for that, right? So those are different discussions. Essentially, an SIM is like your GP, is your doctor. He's taking all the blood test information and trying to get to a root cause. He's correlating all the information. That is exactly what an SIM does. As auditors, one thing I told you to look for is what is the logging level? Is the logging level appropriate? I give you two examples where you may not need every normal event. But there may be some systems where you may need the record of every normal event to know that things are working all right. Now, what an SIM helps with is, now we talk of one report. You took your blood report. That is a static report. It is a snapshot. At one point, you went to a place, they drew blood. At that point, what the number was. Whereas a network is actually kind of a living being, right? It's got a heartbeat. I'm right now, my heartbeat, I don't know, must be 80 beats per minute, for example. So my heart right now is generating 80 events every minute. As simple as that. Networks, devices also are generating events continuously. Now, when something happens in a network, just like your GP, the SIEM software, but the GP has time. You go and sit there for half an hour. He or she will ponder over the report, ask you 20 other questions. On a network, we don't have time for that. We have to be really quick to figure out where that source is. Currently, my heart rate is 73, which means I am generating 73 events every minute. On a network, in this 1 minute of 73 events, you could have generated a few million log entries, depending on the size of the network. But SIEM software has to have that ability to ingest all of it, try and find where this, let's say, and there is a problem, there is an incident, there is an error, let's say, in any one device. The SIEM will look, is this error localized to this device, or is this a beginning or an indication of a bigger problem? That's all an SIEM does. So as auditors, first thing we have to know is the logging correctly done? Is the logging level appropriate? Too much is also bad, too little is also bad. So we have to understand how to, of course, as you go along, you will as you work, as you audit these systems, you will know what systems need what level of logging. Now, well, you have to make a start. You ask me, how do I make a start? Very simple. If you see too many entries of the same type, that is your first red flag. That could be good or bad. Why? If, let's say, you're seeing a lot of incorrect login or wrong password, wrong username password entries, you know there is something wrong. Yes, they might be there. A person might enter occasionally, once in a while, somebody might enter a wrong username password. Happens, keyboard mistake, whatever. But are there too many? Now, what are too many? I think 10% of all login attempts cannot be, failure attempts. That itself is a flag. So as you go along the journey, you'll understand why is this device sending so many logs? Why is this device not sending logs? You only have these many devices. Oh, we have only configured a few critical devices. Why? Right? Once you start understanding what a SIEM does, so the more information the SIEM gets from more devices, just like the cardiologist or the nephrologist or the endocrinologist or the diabetologist or the gynecologist will ask you for more information to get to the root cause. The more coverage the SIEM has across the network, the better it will be able to get to the root cause. More of a specialist that SIEM then becomes. Now, SIEMs are typically used for monitoring security event. That is why they're called security incident and event management softwares. As auditors, one thing we know, I have told you, appropriate level of logging is what we need to figure out. Okay. They help with centralized log analysis and rapid incident detection. Unlike a blood test, which is a snapshot of something at some period of time, a network is a living entity. Like my heart rate, 73 BPM right now, 73 events created. network in 1 minute would have created 1 million events. All those events have to be captured, taken to one place. But there is another advantage of an SIEM, which is not really spoken of, is that when a person, say, works on a computer, let's say you are working on your computer, right? You have kind of a good level of access to your computer. So there are certain things that you could possibly hide your tracks. Okay. Now, when a network administrator or a person who works on a network device is working, we want to know what he is doing. Maybe he has no malicious intent, but knowledge of what that person does allows you to recreate or better understand what may have caused the problem. Because if it was an operator error, and it is absolutely possible, human beings can make mistakes and it is fine, right? Honestly, if you ask me, a person who doesn't make any mistakes is not working. But you should have controls, because mistakes cannot bring systems down. They should be controlled, right? There should be some level of maker checker is a term all of you would know, right? So you make the change, test it, make sure it is working. Only then somebody approves it. Then it is then rolled out, or then it is approved, and the change actually happens. So we all know that we need this maker checker controls, as they are called. Now, in certain systems, you can't do that. Once you make a change, you save it, it instantly takes effect from the next instant, not even second. Second is too long, 1000 milliseconds. The next millisecond, it will take effect. If you make a mistake, that mistake will spread in 1 millisecond. So there an SIEM can figure out, oh, this change was made and instantly I got this error. SIEMs are now able to pinpoint that this change probably caused it, go reverse that change, and then observe. Then normally you will find that once you reverse that change, the things get better. Now, other thing is, administrators of systems, people who have administrative rights, they can do damage either by mistake, or what they can do is, even if they have malicious intent, let's say there's a disgruntled employee who's leaving, he can then remove traces of his work from the logs. But if you have set up that a log should automatically be sent to an SIEM, normally that administrator will not have access to the SIEM's copy of the logs. So instantly you're sending the logs to that person. That ensures that nobody can tamper with the logs. All evidence of all work, all events, all incidents is stored in another place, which gives you a reasonable guarantee, or at least additional assurance. This is like having two logs on your front door, right? To say that, listen, these logs are true. They are sacrosanct. They have not been tampered with. This is also a big advantage of having a system like SIEM. Okay. Audit objectives. From an SIEM, we've spoken about most of this. Alerts are generated when they are expected, or whenever a piece of work happens, whenever something goes wrong, or even when something is right. Alerts should be timely. Response actions are documented. Okay, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more. Forensic investigation facilitated. You can see this. That's not a big problem. As auditors, we have to know that if there is something identified by the SIEM, what did you do? Did you address it correctly? Is there documentation where you made sure that that system, that error or that event was appropriately addressed? What happened after you did it? Did things go bad? Did things get better? Now, what were the lessons learned from that incident? What did you need to do to ensure that that incident will not repeat? These are the things we have to look for as auditors. First, once we understand what is being logged, is that important? Is this right? Is it timely? Is it adequate? Is it appropriate? Then if there is an event, what did you do? Did you address it correctly, right? Who are you supposed to escalate to? Certain kind of incidents, you must know, may have, in some geographies, in some countries, regulatory implications. In India, for example, the Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT-IN, they are called. Almost all countries have their own individual CERT, SEERT equivalent organizations. In India, the CERT-IN says you have to inform them of any security. What was the term they used? I'm sorry, incidents, I think they used within 6 hours of your coming to know of it. Within 6 hours of your coming to know of it. Sometimes it may take you months to realize that a security incident has happened. Nowadays, with SIEM kind of systems, it is easier to figure out that something is going wrong before it all goes down the drain. Okay. For compliance, you have to verify that logs are stored for the correct duration, that they are encrypted and tamper-proof. I spoke about tampering with logs, right? People who have rights to work on systems, they will have access to their logs also. So if they have any malicious intent, they could tamper with the logs. Implementing something like SIEM ensures that those logs are kept in another secure place. And as long as the same operator doesn't have access to the SIEM also, your logs are now tamper-proof. They should be access controlled, which means they should be people who work on those individual systems should not have administrative rights to the SIEM also. That is a conflict of interest. That segregation of duties there is important, that if there is a firewall operator, he should not have administrative rights to the SIEM to which the firewall is sending logs. Then the whole purpose is defeated. Just remember this much. We have spoken about what is SIEM. I won't waste time on this. Now, there are all these layers are there. What is ingestion layer? Ingestion layer of the SIEM is what is receiving all the events, all the logs, all the rows in that, like we spoke about in the Excel sheet, or from all the different systems, right? A normalization, basically what it does is, because I told you, right, if there are so many different firewalls, there are so many different switches, brands, they might all have their different formats. The SIEM breaks them all down and takes it into its own format so that it can understand all the events. Then only it does a correlation like your GP, which we spoke about. And then it will set up dashboards and alerts. Now, that is nothing. What is an alert? Heart rate is now up. Temperature is now up, right? You as auditors only have to understand that we need alerts for abnormal conditions, right? Normal conditions, they're good. They might be required to monitor normal conditions from a performance perspective, right? Is the system working correctly? Is it working at a speed that it is required to work at? If I am monitoring that monitoring is required, but it is not required for a security incident or event management system. That system only needs to get logs of if something is wrong. Core functions of an SIEM are log retention. We spoke about this, right? You can specify how long you want to keep the log. You can keep them tamper-proof as long as the right people have the access. If the person who is working on a main system also has access to the logs on the SIEM, then there is a possibility of tampering with both, right? Threat intelligence, we won't spend much time on this. Real-time alerting, we have already mentioned, we already spoken. Threat intelligence basically means that there is continuously new different kind of exploits and threats and viruses and worms and malware and ransomware coming up on a daily basis throughout the world. And a lot of companies have threat intelligence databases which SIEMs can connect into, where they'll get information on new kind of behaviors or patterns or files that are going around, or new kind of events or that are triggered in certain systems, which then the SIEM will continuously update itself and also be able to protect your network. There are some tools. Splunk also has, for example, a community edition where it can ingest. It's free. It used to have. I implemented some maybe 15 years ago. I haven't seen them in the recently, but at that point in time, the community edition could ingest 500 GB of logs per day. That was their community edition 15 years ago. I don't know what it is now, and there are various other systems which you can look at it. Okay, infrastructure. We spoke about what are the key sources, right? Domain controllers. Don't worry about what the word domain means. Domain controllers. When you go into an office and you log in, right? that login is being managed by a domain controller. You have rights to certain folders, you don't have rights to certain folders. That is also managed by a domain controller or a file server, but that authentication is happening from a domain controller. Okay. Authentication events are what? Successful login or failed login. These are authentication events. Network traffic, I told you, whatever traffic is going through the network. Intrusion attempts. The person who's trying to break your lock is similarly trying to crack your firewall. Every time he tries to attempt, that firewall can log, that log can go to the SIEM. SIEM can keep tracking. Oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Now, according to my rules, this has happened now so many times. Now I have to flag it, right? As auditors, you have to understand the possibilities that this thing can do. And you have to check if those systems have been included in the SIEM's monitoring. Don't worry about this. We have spoken about this. We have spoken about real-time routing. Auditing SIEM implementations, right? Check if documented inventory of log sources. We said as many systems as SIEM receives logs from, the more effective it will be. However, if you put in logs of systems that are not related, that are just, you're just putting in because you want to put it in, you can actually slow down the SIEM and make it more inefficient than useful. Therefore, you must include those systems which are important. Now, how do you do that? We understand, when we do the CISA course, when I teach the CISA course, I teach the importance of risk assessment. You should consider the riskiest, most critical elements to include in the logs. Okay, as a quick word, we have our next batch of the GISA Council CISA starting on, when is it starting? Raghav, Isha, when is it? It is starting on, wait, I'm putting it, 20th July, I think is starting now. So I'm also putting in the chat a link to the, yes, 20th July.
Yeah, 20th July.
20th July, I'm putting a link to that in the chat. So if you are interested, if you are interested in hearing my drone-like voice again, and you want to pass the CISA exam, here is the link. 20th July. We do 4 hours on Saturdays and Sundays, and evenings normally India time, so that it's kind of works for people in other geographies also. Okay. All right. So we evaluate data source onboarding is a fancy word of saying figure out which all systems are sending their data. That's all. Their logs. What is the data here? Their logs, their events, their incidents. Logs. That word logs covers everything. Review parsing and normalization rules. Now, what is this? What does parsing mean? Parsing means to make sense out of, right? Normalization, I explained. Every system has a different kind of logging format. This SIEM system takes it, right, and it converts all of it into its own format. Now, if you've seen, if you've seen videos of people sitting in parliament, especially in, say international meets, G20, UN, you will see that everybody is sitting with their headphones. Now, what are they listening to? All of them have a translator so that they can understand the speaker in their language. There might be 100 translators also, right, sitting there, because there might be people speaking 100 languages. What is that happening there? It is that if, let's say, if I go there and I'm speaking in Tamil, if I'm speaking in Tamil to all of you, most of you wouldn't understand. Probably there might be some who do understand Tamil, but you might have a translator. Let's say we use one of Google Translate. What is that doing? It is normalizing my inputs too, so that you can understand, right? You may understand Hindi, another person may understand Mandarin, another person may understand, Afrikaans, somebody may understand English, but I am speaking in Tamil. So I have to normalize that for you, right? So the SIEM systems cannot process all 2,000, 20,000, 30,000 different formats of languages. It has to translate all that into its own language for it to understand. Much like that fellow who is sitting in the UN who doesn't understand Mandarin or Russian and he's speaking in Russian or Mandarin and he has to listen to it in Hindi because he understands Hindi. There is a translator sitting and who's normalizing that speech for him. That is what an SIEM does. That is all we have to check. Is that normalization happening correctly? How do you know? What are the rules you have set? Okay. Validate correlation rule coverage, right? What is that? We know what correlation does. Just like the doctor takes different parameters, figures out what is wrong. What is our SIEM? SIEMs typically work on rules. Newer SIEMs are now using AI to detect correlation events. And the need for rules, I am expecting or setting up rules. Now, what are rules? Let me give you an example. If this happens, look for this. If that happens also, if this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this equal to this, then you please alert me. That is a very simple, very, very basic way of a correlation rule. So event 1 in this system plus event 2 in this system or lack of this event in system 3 equal to alert. This is a correlation rule. Now, as auditors, we have to go and understand, ask them, what are the rules you have set, right? And what is the effect of those rules? Show me the logs, show me how those rules are processed, show me what is the effect of those rules, and then you will get an understanding of whether that SIEM rules are effective or not. Okay. Auditing, SIEM implementations, monitoring and alerting. Now, alerts are also very important. I told you initially, if I were to continuously telling you my heart my heart rate is 72, 71, 72. I give you 1,000 times, I give you 72, and then I give you 71 once, you will probably miss it, right? That is called alert fatigue. So if you have too many alerts of nonsense which are not useful, we have to look for that, right? Or if you have too few, right? So sorry, anyone saying something? Are we over time? Should I stop?
We can continue, sir.
Continue, sir.
Okay. All right. Not much left. I've covered most of it initially. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah. So there are both extremes, right? You have too many events. You have too few events also. So how do you know, right? It is not easy to know whether the SIEM is configured correctly, whether the logs are coming correctly or not. In an SIEM dashboard, if you go and find in a decent sized network, you don't find any alerts. Not possible. If you find thousands of alerts, that's also too much. Okay. So there has to be some kind of a balance, and that comes with a little bit of knowledge of what that company does, right? What kind of work they do? What kind of systems do they have? What kind of software do they have, right? Also, what is the industry, right? Different industries have kind of different security risk exposures. So they all work differently. You have to understand that over a period of time, you will know what is too few, what is too low. That leads you to ask them more questions. Are you monitoring all your systems? Are the logs level appropriate? Are they correct? Are you logging too much? Are you logging too little? Right? If you have too many events or you have too few events, both are questions you can ask. What are false positives? Anyone? What are false positives? Wolf, wolf, wolf. I'm crying wolf all the time. Right? When there is no wolf, that is a false positive. Okay, systems, when they detect, when they report, when they alert you to things, to events that have not happened, or they are incorrectly correlated. Doctors make mistake. They make mistakes in diagnosis because they may not have all the information. They may not have all the knowledge, right? Similarly, SIEMs or similar systems, without the benefit of all the information from all the devices, all the software in that network, they may give you false positive. They may also give you false positives if the rules are incorrectly configured. If you say, when you find 2, you find another 2, you give me 5. It will give you 5. It doesn't care. You say 2 plus 2 equal to 5, it will obey you. It will do it. So if you're getting a lot of these false positives, right? If you go to a network and you audit the SIEM and it says this event has happened, what did you do? Oh no, sorry, they were false positive. Okay, then what is the next one? Oh, this was a false positive. What is the next one? Oh, this is a false positive. First you ask them, how do you know it was a false positive? What did you do after this event happened? That is your job as an auditor. You don't have to worry what that rule is. You don't have to worry. You don't have to know the rule. Why? What did you do? So, it's a false positive. Why do I have to follow it up? How do you know it's a false positive? What did you do to check? You show me. You need evidence. As auditors, you always work with evidence. You show me where is your documentation to show that you address this false positive. Should you have closed this or not? Right? No, there are too many of them. Why are there too many? There can't be too many false positives because every time there is a false positive, and if you claim that you are chasing up every false positive, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time means you are wasting company money. You should be focusing on something more important than chasing a dog's tail, which is going round and round and round and round, not reaching anywhere. False positives are a great indicator of an incorrectly configured SIEM. Please remember this. The other great indicator of an incorrectly configured SIEM is few events. This very small number of events, very small number of alerts. These are very, very good indicators. Okay, access and integrity controls. I explained what the advantage of an SIEM is, how important SOD is in terms of SIEM, access to SIEM, who should have access to SIEM. Now, of course, you will have smaller companies that you're auditing where they may have SIEM, but they may not have enough people to have proper segregation of duties. Then what do we look for? We look for what is called compensatory controls, right? So every time you access the SIEM, you are the network administrator, you are the firewall administrator, you are also the SIEM administrator. Now, every time you access the SIEM, I want you to log and send me an email that you access the SIEM for this purpose. And I will have an auditor who comes every 6 months and will check, are all logs there? Is every log of your access being documented? I'll have an auditor come and check. That is a compensatory control where you cannot have clear, full segregation of duties. And you, in more cases than not, you will find that there are not enough people to establish 100% segregation of duties. Therefore, you may have compensatory controls on top of that. Incident handling. When an SIEM throws an incident, what do you do? First thing, the first rule of managing security incidents is to identify the security incident, make sure it is correct, that is, it is not a false positive, that it's a true positive, and contain the effect of it, contain the impact. First, always for what we should look for is, did you contain that event to wherever it was there? Did you isolate it so that it doesn't spread or it doesn't get worse? Once you have identified an event, SIEM identified an event, your first step should be to contain that event. Then you see where it came from, what it is doing, how do you eradicate it. And then once you have done that, you see what you could have done better to not let that happen. That post-review, post-incident review is also very critical. These are the three things that you should look for. Whenever you see an incident, 3 steps. Identify an incident. It's a true positive. Yes. If yes, did you contain? Yes, we contain. How did you contain? What did you do? Where is the evidence? Then how did you eradicate? I did these things. What was the lessons learned? What could you do to ensure this doesn't happen? Those 4 things, you are a successful auditor. And the company that you're auditing will actually get benefit from your audit. And that is the ultimate purpose of the audit, is that we as auditors should give comfort to the organizations which have engaged us that their systems are running according to. Okay. integration with ticketing and SOAR. SOAR is a topic for the next webinar. I think it's on the 15th. I'll just confirm that. You are welcome to join that, and we'll talk more about these things. This I've already spoken about, so I'm not going here. Again, I'm not wasting time here. Alert fatigue, we have spoken about this. False positives, we've spoken about this. We'll speak more about this in the next webinar. Dates will be announced. It is on
15th July.
Sorry?
15th July.
15th July, yes. Same time, I think.
Same time.
Security orchestration, automation, and response is kind of a next level or the next logical progression of SIEM. We will learn more about that next time. Common mistakes. We've also spoken about common mistakes. So I won't waste time on this. Leave the case study. That's it. I said there are AI-based systems coming. AI and of course ML includes AI. ML is a subset of AI. There are various other, not just ML, but there are other AI-based deduction and correlation engines that are also getting developed now. And the next seminar we'll talk about SOAR and XDR. Will we share this with all the participants, this PPT? Do I have to give it to you? Should I share it now, or how do you want to do it, Raghav?
Yeah, you can share now. Not an issue.
Okay, just give me 5 minutes then. Okay, guys, just that's it. Then you can go through this, guys. We're done. Done. Any questions?
Sir, any tool specific knowledge shall we get, like this Splunk or IBM QRadar, how they are being configured?
You don't ask me out of course questions, yeah, please. No, I can't. You see, there are many tools. I put the names of some tools, okay, and I am not an expert in all the tools, right? I can't be. Yes.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So which one is your favorite, sir?
Yeah, actually, I've used Splunk and QRadar both. QRadar is of course from IBM, and it costs a bomb. Splunk also was good. I haven't used it in about 15 years now.
Okay.
Look up Splunk. It used to be excellent. But actually, the tool doesn't matter. You have to see what tool works for your use case.
Correct.
That is more important than the name of the tool. Okay?
Yes.
The brand of the tool is, you can, one second, I'm just trying to see how to, if I can send you the file here in this in-call message chatting. Can I send a file here? It doesn't seem to have.
You please share the PPT to me. We will share with the participants. Okay, you may share me on my WhatsApp.
All right. You have their contacts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone?
Sir, is there any chance of finding false negative in our organizations?
Again, normally it goes with the correlation engine, sir.
Okay.
It normally goes with how that is configured. There are so many different ways of doing this that I can't give you one overall answer. It's difficult.
Sir, it is an example for zero-day event.
Well, what is the definition of zero day? What is the definition of zero day?
Yes, sir, it's present inside when the developer had done it, but unfortunately, after sometimes we just find that.
No, I'm asking you. You are asking how we can manage zero-day exploits using SIEM, right? That is your question, right? How can we manage zero-day exploits using SIEM? Yes?
Yes, sir.
But what is the definition of zero-day? No vulnerabilities not known that are exploited, or vulnerabilities that are known but don't have an immediate cure that are exploited? Which one? Which is your definition of zero day?
Second one.
Known, but no cure is available. Yes. Now, where is that known coming from? Where is that known coming from?
Is that timely detection? Like,
So now the official accepted definition of zero-day vulnerabilities is an or a threat is or an exploit. Sorry, exploit is an attack that exploits an unknown or unaddressed security flaw. It's both. It may be unknown or it may be unaddressed. It's not one or the other. It is both. They both could be zero day, which is why I asked you that question specifically. What do you mean? Known and unknown or unaddressed. Remember these two words. A vulnerability that is unknown or unaddressed. Unaddressed means it's known, but there is no fix for it. Unknown means it's not known. Now, if it is known, the chances are that if your SIEM is connected to the right threat intelligence networks, it may get the notification of an unaddressed vulnerability. That if this kind of behavior, if somebody is trying to send this kind of data to this kind of system, that is potentially an exploitation of a known unaddressed or unpatched vulnerability. Now, how do you configure a SIEM to point out or to alert you for unknown zero-day attacks? Unknown, if there are some attacks which are exploiting unknown vulnerabilities, how do you configure? The only way that you could configure that is to have a other rule. If nothing matches and you find something that is not normal, then you flag it. Then you have to deal with false positives. Then you have to start filtering all those things which you know are false positives. And then over a period of time, now this is not a static thing, it will keep changing, because the threat the threat scenario is also changing continuously. It is changing sometimes hundreds of times a day. You have new threats coming up, which means your SIEM configuration also has to keep up with it. All right. I hope that made a little bit of sense. Any other questions?
So, sir, most important thing is your correct SIEM must be configured correctly, right, sir? And
Always,
that must be audited properly.
That makes or breaks the SIEM.
Yeah, as per the security policy of the organization, that must be configured perfectly, right?
100%.
And auditor has to audit it on semi-annual or annual basis, quarterly basis, as it is as per the requirements.
And listen, there is no perfect configuration.
Okay.
Okay, because threats are continuously evolving and changing, which means your configuration has to keep evolving with the threats.
Correct.
Make sense?
Yes.
That's now we are 1 hour over the time. Good night or good evening, wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Very nice session,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you so much, sir.
I have another question.
Yes.
Sorry, I have another question that I want to ask it earlier.
Yes.
It's about the log report that you generated from either domain. And because you mentioned about the normalization of the log, like you want to probably keep the pattern and not really the pattern, but the format in a structured way, is easier to make the analysis later on. Is there also the anonymization that need to be done, considering the log includes a lot of different sensitive information for instance, the user login and maybe password is also inside?
Typically, no logs will contain information that needs to be anonymized. Now, again, it depends on your implementation. If you are, if a third party is managing your SIEM, then you will have to think that you create the logs in such a way from that system where there is no sensitive information being logged. If your application is logging, typically sensitive in personal, private, or PII will be logged by applications. Yes, not by operating systems, not by network switches. There is no operating system which will say user login successful. This was the username, this was the password. If there is a system like that, that should be thrown out immediately. As an auditor, that should be a biggest red flag for you, Leo. You should say this operating system is logging passwords in clear text. What kind of OS is that? Throw it away. One, right? That should not get into your SIEM at all. You should not even have an option. Now, if your application is logging PII, that is a massive red flag. There is no question of that application logging any kind of PII outside because logs are outside the purview of the application. Once the log is into the SIEM, the people who manage the SIEM normally have no right to that private PII data. Normally, they have no right to it. Under no circumstances should they be getting that PII data. Huge problem. GDPR will take you to the cleaners. You will not exist as a company after that. So don't even go down that route. This is not even a question to be asked. That application cannot be logging that data. That has to be blocked first. Do not include those logs in your SIEM, second step. Or at least first step, do not include those logs in your SIEM and then go and modify that application. Do not log it. If that application is logging anonymized data, then you're okay. Then you check, is there anything left in this which can help someone, which can allow someone to take a combination of those elements and identify a living human being. If not, you are safe. This is the definition. A set of data elements, a set of attributes that help you connect it to a living human being. If that is not possible, then you are fine. Then you let the data go to the SIEM. There should be no personal data going into the SIEM. Now, personal data can be IP address also. I'm coming to your question, ma'am. Definition of personal data can be IP address also. You are right. If a system is capturing IP address and it is sensitive or it is private data, then that system should not be logging into an external log that IP address, which then can be read by any unauthorized person. That application itself should log that data in an anonymized format, or you will have to have controls. You will have to have another step before the data is sent to the SIEM to say that I will have another system which will read these logs, anonymize the data, then send it to the SIEM. That data should never go directly to the SIEM. Make sense?
Yes. And including, is the IP address considered as the PII? Like the IP address?
It can be. It can be in certain cases. It can be. I can't give you a definite answer, yes or no. In certain cases, it is not. In certain cases, it can be.
Okay. So if the IP address is also there, then actually, as you said, then extra controls or certain need to be there to ensure it is not there. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Emrich, I have shared the presentation with the GISA Council team, and I have mentioned 3 or 4 different SIEM systems as well.
By tomorrow, they will be getting this PPT along with the with this recorded session on their email address.
Okay, Manoko Gopa has this question: does outsourcing the SOC team guarantee or minimize the potential to tamper with the logs? Depends on how the log shipping to the SOC is configured. That is very important. And who has access to the SOC? If the person who is working on a system that is producing logs and has administrative access to those logs, if he has access to the SOC also, then you're not eliminating the tampering. Just by outsourcing the SOC, no, not necessarily. An in-sourced SOC, which is placed in your organization, also can be made tamper-proof to a great extent. Now, if let's say you and I am a network administrator, you are the SIEM administrator, and we are in, we shake hands, and then we say, listen, let's do this together, we'll make money or whatever is the benefit, then you can't protect. Yes? So collusion you can't really work against. Collusion can be with an internal employees or external third party also. What do you do for that? You say, listen, you are going to be audited. We will find out at some point in time that you connected to the SIEM. There are logs there. You extracted these logs. Why did you do them? What was the reason? Did you have authorization to do it? Did you take permission from your manager or from somebody else as the right authority? You have another compensatory control on top of that as an auditor. I hope that makes sense, guys.
Yeah.
How often do you have to update rules? Again, there is no hard and fast rule about rule updation. You have to keep up with changes in business, changes in networks, changes in threats and vulnerabilities. Even if you upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11, may need you to update your rules. A new version of your antivirus EDR, XDR may need you to update your rules. A new firewall firmware version may need you to update your rules. If you change from Cisco switches to Meraki switches or from Aruba to Cisco or Juniper, you may need to change your rules. The environment that you are working in defines the rules. You may have a new regulation that applies on your business that may require you to change your rules. Entering a wrong password, normally not once, but if you are repeatedly trying to and you're failing, then yes. How could an auditor go about when testing for firewall controls? Manoko, very, very generic question, will take a long time to answer. Maybe we can address this separately. You have my email and WhatsApp in the presentation that I have shared. I'm happy to help you with any questions you have later. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Pleasure. I hope you guys got something out of it.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank
That's
you.
very
Thank you.
helpful. Thank you very much,
Thanks.
Ira.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Good
Have a
night.
good day. Bye-bye.
20th,
Good night.
20th July is the CISA course. Raga will give you all the details. Thank you.
Cheers, mates.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.